Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ethan Bradley Show. I'm your host, Ethan Bradley. It's Wednesday night, around 9 o'clock, May the 29th. This is episode 3. We're doing a little bit sooner than planned. I didn't expect to have this much free time. So, the few fans I have will be hearing a lot of my voice a lot more now. We're still working on an interview for Saturday. Me and my friend will most likely be sitting down. Like I said in the last episode, he was on my original podcast, and he used an alias then. So I don't know if he'll use alias now. So that's why I'm hesitant to release his name. Because if I release his name now, and we do the podcast then, he won't want to do it, and then I'll be fucked. But yeah, I got a lot more time on my hands. Kind of ran into a little bit of a roadblock, a personal roadblock. I'm not letting it knock me down, so that's a good sign. In the past, I let things like what happened just trounce me and set me back on my development as a person. I'm not letting that happen now. I'm very proud of myself for that. Things, even that's something that points down. The arrows are still pointing up. I'm very excited where I'm going in life. Very excited. The podcast, why it's not doing too well yet. I'm not going to give up on it. I still have faith in this podcast, and that I can go somewhere with it. I'm just going to keep doing it, whether I got fans or not. It fills up my day that most of the time is filled with nothingness, and you got to have something to occupy. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ethan Bradley Show. I'm your host, Ethan Bradley. It's Wednesday night, around 9 o'clock, May the 29th. This is episode 3. We're doing a little bit sooner than planned. I didn't expect to have this much free time. So, the few fans I have will be hearing a lot of my voice a lot more now. We're still working on an interview for Saturday. Me and my friend will most likely be sitting down. Like I said in the last episode, he was on my original podcast, and he used an alias then. So I don't know if he'll use alias now. So that's why I'm hesitant to release his name. Because if I release his name now, and we do the podcast then, he won't want to do it, and then I'll be fucked. But yeah, I got a lot more time on my hands. Kind of ran into a little bit of a roadblock, a personal roadblock. I'm not letting it knock me down, so that's a good sign. In the past, I let things like what happened just trounce me and set me back on my development as a person. I'm not letting that happen now. I'm very proud of myself for that. Things, that's something that points down. The arrows are still pointing up. I'm very excited where I'm going in life. Very excited. The podcast, why it's not doing too well yet. I'm not going to give up on it. I still have faith in this podcast, and that I can go somewhere with it. I'm just going to keep doing it, whether I got fans or not. It fills up my day that most of the time is filled with nothingness, and you got to have something to occupy you. I noticed that. I think honestly that's why I'm doing so well now. Is I'm able to think clear, and I'm able to occupy myself and do something to entertain me or find things that interest me. I don't just sit around Well, I kind of sit around, but it's more of a productive sitting around. It used to be I would just mope around and lay in bed all day and chain smoke, and at least now I get out of my bed and I get on my computer, I type up new material. Um, I'm working on a book right now. It's not there's nobody backing it whatsoever. It's just something I do myself, and maybe when I finish it and check it over a couple times and hand it out to a couple people whose opinions I trust, then maybe I'll seek publishing. But it's I'm just more doing things to entertain myself and occupy myself, and you know, I said recently, I said I'm not gonna allow myself to be in a funk anymore. I'm not allowing it, and I think it's working out really well. Yesterday I got some rough news, and I took it pretty hard for a little while, but I didn't sulk. I picked myself up and I moved forward, and there wasn't shit going on today, so I said, hey, how about I do a fucking podcast? How about I do episode 3? Let's try to be the most productive podcast we can be. Knock out as many episodes you can with coherent thought. Because I'm not gonna do a podcast when I have absolutely nothing to say. I'm not gonna just sit in the basement and just grasp for ideas. Or I guess it's gasp. Is it gasp? I don't know. But once again, trying to set up an interview with somebody who I feel he's the most unique person I've ever met, and I feel that we could do a really intriguing interview that will hopefully boost this episode. It will hopefully boost this show. Episode 2 has only been up for a couple days, but it's not doing nearly as well as episode 1 was. And I think maybe that's because episode 1, everybody was like, okay, I'll check it out. And then they said, it's not that good. Last I checked, episode 2 only had 7 views. I think if episode 2 would have gone originally as planned, it would have gone a lot better. Originally, I was going to sit down with my friends Sean Lindley and Austin Piazza. And Austin Piazza, like I mentioned before, was my co-host in my original podcast. But I was planning on just interviewing him this time, opposed to us going back and forth. That's something I really want to work on. And the reason why my last podcast was not successful at all, not episode 2, but my original podcast, was because I didn't really have any savvy, and I really want to work on my media savvy. I really want to work on interviewing people and having thoughtful conversations that hopefully attract people to listen and to tune in. But this person, he's probably the only sensible two-party person I met. He's a Democrat, and he's the only sensible one I've met of a Republican or of a Democrat. He almost gets me to buy in to the Democrats. I don't know what I am, though. Yeah, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I go kind of both ways. I guess you can call me an independent. I used to consider myself a libertarian, but that party's kind of lost me. The only two really bright bulbs are Ron Paul and Gary Johnson, and Ron Paul's not even a libertarian anymore. He's a part of the GOP, and that's really sad. But I think we'll have a really good discussion. If you're not I don't think anyone's necessarily a fan of politics. I think pe- people are interested in politics. Um, he's one of the new Bill Maher guys, though. He's one of the new Bill Maher fans. There's old Bill Maher, the libertarian Bill Maher, the independent Bill Maher, the Bill Maher who could see clearly that both parties were fucking everything up and making us think that there's actually a difference when there really isn't. And I guess you could date Bill Maher like this: politically incorrect Bill Maher, in real time Bill Maher. He's a real time Bill Maher guy. I am a politically incorrect Bill Maher guy. I love watching the old clips. I've seen them all, and I never get tired of it. Just just the brunt honesty, and just saying, "Fuck that noise. This is how it is." He's just. It's a shame that he's became a liberal. It really is. I think, but he got so fucked during that conservative time here in America. I guess I can't necessarily blame him, but I know if I was in the same situation, I would not have handled myself the way he has in the last 5 years. Um, so I'm really excited about that, and I'll definitely be hyping this interview a lot. Um, I think it's going to be really good because when I had sat down with him last time, he was almost intimidated um, by me and Austin, I guess, because me and Austin were very intense, and I think that's another thing I've worked on since in the new podcast is I try not to be as intense. It was almost kind of an in your face style, and I was definitely being douchey, but we were having a lot of technical difficulties. It was really bad. I'm almost considering releasing the episode. Um, but by the end of it, it just got to the point where I was like, "Fuck it!" I'm interviewing his dog. He has a little pug, and oh shit, he's probably gonna be pissed that I released that information. um, you, I think you'll all understand it a lot more when it takes place. Um, I think though that he's the perfect human being. I really do. Um, this person's probably by far my best friend. He's like a brother to me. Um, I haven't seen him for 5 months in person. We've talked the phone stuff, but we've just so much has been going on. It's been hard to find time to actually sit down and just shoot the breeze. And it's gonna be really exciting. And I look forward to the process of getting this interview done. Probably go up there for about 3 hours and, you know, shoot the breeze for a little bit, for an hour, hour and a half. And then, final hour and a half, we'll sit down and do the interview. And I think that was a problem last time is I didn't get him warmed up. We just came in, we're like, okay, let's do this now. I'm babbling. I'm just really excited about it. I would have preferred to have gotten the interview with Austin and Sean. I think it would have been a really interesting second episode, but it didn't work out. I will get that done though. That's my promise to you all. I'm having a problem with Facebook today. it's just acting retard. It won't let me open the show's page, and I swear if my fucking page got blocked, I'm gonna be pretty fucking pissed. I'll go to war with Facebook via podcast, because I have barely posted anything other than the episodes, and a couple questions that I wish you guys would start answering. We're trying to get that going today. It's just been kind of a slow day, you know? Not a whole lot going. Probably should have done some show prep. I'm starting to think that I need to start prepping these shows a lot more when I'm doing them by myself, because I want to do an hour every time, and I've noticed that I don't cover a lot in an hour. Last time I pretty much did a little tribute to Ray Manzarek, and talked about music and just kind of went on a rant for a little while. There wasn't really any consistency to anything. Okay, good. So I got my page going again. That's nice. 6 likes, really. I mean, one of them's me, and the rest are friends. I have promoted the shit out of this show. It's kind of a bummer. I'm not letting it get me down, though. I'm just, working my ass off on it. I mean, every time I post up a video for this show, it immediately gets likes. I think maybe one of the reasons why this show isn't doing well is, one, I have no notoriety whatsoever, and 2, it's released on YouTube. It's not released off of a real provider. It's not on iTunes. I mean, it's just a lot of extra work that I don't feel is needed. It's very easy nowadays to just do the podcast off of YouTube, and if you want, you can convert it to audio on websites like MP3ify, Off Liberty. Getting back on track. I feel like a real egotist, though, because I'm constantly checking the video over and over again, and it says 8 views, and I'm just like, oh, come on, no, that's 2 more than last time I checked. But I feel like you get a better idea of how many people are actually checking your stuff out. I feel you got a better chance of getting your stuff checked out when you put it on YouTube opposed to putting it on iTunes. You gotta have some kind of notoriety if you're gonna put it on iTunes or some kind of provider. And I'm hoping, the stand-up starts helping this stuff out. I feel like my material's getting good. I feel like I got some really good stuff. Really tired. I've just been very tired lately. Things have been very taxing. I got one of these electronic cigarettes. I'm cheating on the whole not smoking things. And it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. It serves its purpose. Got a really weird aftertaste, though. This one's a menthol one. I wouldn't have gotten a menthol one. A friend gave it to me. Heard I was trying to quit smoking, so they gave this to me. It was really nice of them. That's the thing, man. Ever since I kind of got my head back together, I'm starting to redevelop my social life with my friends, and Man, it's like I've been under a rock. It's just like, no way, you got 2 kids and you're married now? The fuck? Trying to work on the whole girlfriend situation. I gotta find someone. I gotta, you know, things are just better in a relationship. No matter how toxic it is, it still says, well, somebody loves you so much that they put up with your shit for some insane reason. And that's all I want. Is someone who's just as excited to see me as I am to see them. If not more, you know? I would just love to find one of those girls that are like really into their boyfriend, you know? Like sniffs their dirty underwear, that kind of stuff, you know? Licks it a little bit, puts it on their face. You know? Not picky. This electric cigarette, though, it's about dead, because I've been smoking the shit out of it ever since I got it this morning. It doesn't beat a real cigarette. All I want is a real cigarette. That's all I want, man. I want a Pall Mall red and screwed in my lips, you know? I still got my ashtrays, I should say, around me, and that's a trigger, you know? But I don't want to get rid of them yet, because I don't want to feel like I actually quit. I want it to be like, you know, we're taking a break, I'm trying other things, you know? I can't quit. I can't. I think I'm just, you know, taking a break. Don't be shocked if next episode we do, you know, you hear me lighten up. You know, that's been like one of the hardest things though about quitting is it took away about 15 minutes of material for me. You know, because I had good fucking smoking material. I really did, man. I don't get how this thing works. Do I, like, screw off and put a new filter on? What do I do? I needed to, like, have chargers or something like that. That'd be really cool. I can't stand that guy in the electric cigarette commercials, though. He's just... He's like, look at me in my black and white commercial with my all black on and my 5 o'clock shadow and my fake cigarette. I'm so cool. I went for a walk a little while ago and I was smoking this thing. I felt like a pussy. I wonder if I could smoke these in the clubs, though. I wonder. They do say no smoking allowed, though. They don't say no cigarette smoke allowed. Huh. Looking at some of the headlines on Google News, one that jumps out immediately is Russia sends arms to Syria as it tries to reassert its role in the region. Ah, great. That's what we need. See, we're trying to help the rebels, and you're trying to help the totalitarian government that lies within Syria. Great! I don't see Cold War II happening anytime soon. Oh, it sucks about this electric cigarette, and smokers can vouch for me. If your cigarette you start sucking too long and too hard, you're gonna eventually get that feeling in your throat like you're about to throw up. Just like that with this. Ugh. I feel like I can throw up right now. Nothing. This thing's dead. Fucking shit. That was great while it lasted, though. Number one premium electronic cigarette. Enjoy. King. Menthol Bold. I don't know why everyone around me smokes menthols. I don't get menthols. Menthols taste like shit to me. It's like a mint cigarette, you know? You get that, like, just cold taste in your mouth, if that's even possible. What are some of the other headlines on Google News? Google. Man charged in UK soldiers murder. Great. Soldiers are assholes. Let's get rid of them. Did he just say that? Yes, he did. I don't support the military. Whatsoever. And that whole thing, well, they protect your freedoms. There's not one country around today that can truly threaten our freedom. Yeah. Sorry. Your government has lied to you. Michelle Bachmann won't run for re-election. Good, I'm tired of the cunt. Yes, I just called Michelle Bachmann a cunt. What else? Man, there's not a lot going on. Netflix has found more money and success in their banana stand with Arrested Development. I'm glad to hear that show's back on. I had gotten a free trial for Netflix and unfortunately ran out right before Arrested Development was coming back on. And I was a fan of the show back when it first came on in 2004. I remember it always came on after Malcolm in the Middle, and I really liked that show then. And it looks great now. As soon as I get Netflix going again, I'm going to catch up. They're only coming back for one season, but still, you know. I'm drinking Powerade, and it's not bad. Not great, but not bad. Second time I used that. What is going on in the world? Here's one. Letters threatening mayor and referring to gun control tests positive for ricin. Don't you just feel that all this shit is connected in some kind of way? The Boston bombing and all these, the letters sent from, what was it, Mississippi to Washington, and now this. It just all has to be connected in some kind of way. And I'm intrigued as fuck. I want to see what comes out of this. I'm hoping it's something exciting. Maybe we can get another war out of it. Yippee! It's like George Carlin said, you know, we like war. We are warlike people because we're good at it. Something of that vernacular. And, I tend to agree. I like war. I love turning on CNN and go, another mindless puppet was killed overseas. Yay! I do a lot better when I get that kind of news, It's down in my therapist's office. Ethan, you seem like you're doing really good. What's going on? 3 soldiers were killed in a car bombing. You know what's great about having a podcast? I don't have a boss. So I can't be fired for what I just said. So all you radio hosts, envy me and everyone else who does a podcast. I noticed this since I started doing this podcast. I'm so jealous when I listen to other podcasts. I go, they are so much better than me. Oh my god. Like, I listen to WTF all the time, Mark Maron. Oh man, is that show not fucking great? And he's done a lot of great interviews. Just lately, he did a great one with Dylan Moran, Dick Van Dyke. That was a really good one. Gary Shandling, that's an older one. He did a phenomenal one years ago with Louis C.K. and then one with not Mark Maron, with Janine Garofalo, and Doug Stanhope. And he's always good when he's on other podcasts too. Check out him with Bill Burr's podcast. He tells these 2 just phenomenal stories about Sam Kinison, about his years in the Sam Kinison entourage. Yeah, it's crazy to think though who came out of that Sam Kinison entourage. 2 of my all-time favorite comedians came out of that group. Mark Maron and some little-known kid from Houston named Bill Hicks. Yeah. But from what I read, Sam turned on them just like that. He when Bill Hicks had first moved out to California, they talked about this in American Scream, great book, in my opinion, the best Bill Hicks book. The last 5 chapters will break your heart. You will cry by the end of that book. I promise you that. When he first moved out to L.A., or as he called it, Hell-A, Sam Kinison had accused him of stealing his act. He said, he stole my essence. Yeah, Sam, I got news for you. I just noticed that my headphones were really low, so hopefully I was loud enough for you all to actually hear that. I got news for you, Sam. Bill didn't steal from anyone. Bill did the same act night in and night out until the day he died. But it was a phenomenal act. I'm really wanting to read Mark's new book, Attempting Normal. And I think it talks a lot more about the last 6 years or so, about his divorce and the creation of his podcast. So maybe what I'm more interested is the Mark Maron from the 80s who rode Sam Kinnison's coattails and, what happened afterwards, that. So, I'm going to look into both of them. I haven't read either one. I just recently got into Marc Maron in the last couple months. I had saw his Comedy Central Presents 30-minute special, and it was really good, very edgy. And ever since then, I've been hooked and started listening to the podcast. The podcast is phenomenal for my money. This comes from somebody who does a podcast, the best. He has the best podcast. I don't even come close. I don't even come close to Bill Burr's podcast. And I do the exact same thing Bill Burr does. I editorialize for an hour, and then every now and then I do an interview. Now, Christopher Titus's podcast, maybe. A lot of people like Joe Rogan's podcast. I can't get into it. He did a okay one with Ralphie May, and it was more because of Ralphie May. Ralphie May is very interesting. He's very much into the idea of into the thought, I should say, the thought of what is consciousness, and it's very interesting to me. And I know people are like, well, Joe Rogan does the same thing. No, you know what Joe Rogan does? Joe Rogan talks about his workout regimen for 30 minutes, then backs all these people who sell these workout DVDs and all that for another 30 minutes, and then he shoots the breeze with somebody for 30 minutes, completely ignores them most of the time, and just backs these products that support his podcast. And that's another reason why this show just goes directly to YouTube. One, I can't get sponsors, and two, I don't fucking need them, and I don't feel like wasting your guys' fucking time. And as for Joe Rogan as a comic, I know everybody thinks he's edgy and there's something to his act. There really isn't. There really is not. He's just as bland as most of the comics out there today in the mainstream. Say mainstream because I know for a fact there are a lot of good comics who are not getting any attention whatsoever. So I'm just not a huge Joe Rogan fan. I don't hate Joe Rogan, but at the same time I get kind of tired of his jock comic attitude. One podcast that I recently been getting into and spent about the entire day listening to it yesterday was Jay Moore's podcast, More Stories, which you can download all for free off of iTunes. And I thought it was pretty interesting. Did good ones with Jim Norton, Colin Quinn, Artie Lang, Marc Maron. Marc Maron was the first one I listened to. So that's where I am with podcast. I mentioned Christopher Titus's podcast. I haven't really listened to it yet. Mostly because when he had started it, it was during the presidential race, and he was more than liberal this time around. And I couldn't take it. I was just like, I know what I'm going to get here. I'm not going to give it a listen, but I'm thinking, since there's been some time that's passed, and it's been an exciting couple months, maybe I'll give it a listen. For my money, Christopher Titus might be the best stand-up around. I know a lot of people think it's Louis. Louis the more publicized comic. Is that the word? A lot more people know about Louis because of his phenomenal TV show. And his stand-up is great. Don't get me wrong. I think he does phenomenal stand-up. even if a lot of times he sounds like a retard, there's still an art form to it. I will say I think it's a little more overappreciated. With Christopher Titus, though, his stand-up, it's theater, man. Every show is more of a one-man show than it is, stand-up. You can tell every show he's working through shit, and he's being very honest with you. Rather, sometimes it comes off as a cocky narcissist who only thinks about himself. Yeah. But I had recently purchased his stand-up special that he sold strictly off of his website. I will say it's very buggy, at least off of my computer, but my computer is a piece of shit at times, but I love it nonetheless. I had actually gone up to the library and watched it on one of the computers there, and it's really good. It's really good. Is it as good as Neverlution? No. Was it good as Norman Rockwell's Bleeding? No, but I don't think any special he ever does will top that special. It's such a good special. I enjoy it every time I listen to it. Yeah. So I'm gonna play the song of the day now, and it's a band that I really like. It's a band that I've had contact with. Little known band, Dave's Pawn Shop, with their song Genetics. Hope you all enjoy. Yeah, so that's Dave's Pawn Shop, and they have 2 EPs out. Both are free off of their website. Well, it's Name Your Price, but a little secret is you put in 0 when they ask for your price, and they'll send you a link for the download. I feel kind of bad ripping these guys off because I've actually talked to them, and they're a really cool band, and I hope one of these days I can make it over to America and suggest you support this band. Because in my opinion, they have a bright future even in this rock is dead society. Man. A lot of work to be done. There's a lot of work to be done. It's just what I'm realizing, you know? It's been a tough go, but I'm kicking, man. And hope everyone else out there is doing well, and this isn't something I could do forever, but something I could do now. You know, if you're having a difficult time, people who listen to this show, feel more than free to message me on Facebook or whatever. I want to help, you know. A little info to give out about the show is episode 4 will either be done tomorrow, Friday, or Saturday. You can find episode 1, 2, and 3 on YouTube, where I encourage you more than ever to just pirate it if you want the audio, just the audio. Off Liberty is a great website. It's free. MP3ify isn't free, but it's also, a good website if that's what you're looking for. But yeah, if you ever want to talk, just hit me up. And episode 4 hopefully will be Saturday, and I will be sitting down with a very interesting person who story is very interesting, and whether he has notoriety or not does not matter, at least in my opinion. I feel if you're looking for intelligent conversation, that will be the place to go. And I'm still looking for a co-host, and if you're in the area and you're interested, you can at least provide an hour, 2 days in a full week, you're more than welcome to try out. I will not say no to anyone. If you want to come try out, you're more than welcome. Just let me know. And episode 4 will most likely involve this interview, and episode 6 or 7 will hopefully be the episode where I sit down with my friends Austin and Sean, aka my bandmates, and can knock out that interview. I don't know where I'm gonna go after that though. Who do I interview after that? But I'm not gonna allow this podcast to hit a slope and just not be active for a while. That's not going down. Yeah, we keep tailing off at 50 minutes every time. So I guess we'll close out shop here and send it off to Bill as usual.
Fantastic, and I hope you enjoyed it. There is a point. Is there a point to all this? Let's find a point. there a point to my act? I would say there is. I have to. The world is like a ride at an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are. And the ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it's very brightly colored, and it's very loud, and it's fun for a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us, and they say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid, ever, because this is just a ride. And we kill those people. Shut him up. We have a lot invested in this ride. Shut him up. Look at my furrows of worry. Look at my big bank account and my family. This has to be real. It's just a ride. But we always kill those good guys who try and tell us that. You ever notice that? And let the demons run amok? But it doesn't matter because it's just a ride. We can change it anytime we want. It's only a choice. No effort, no work, no job, no savings of money. A choice right now between fear and love. The eyes of fear want you to put bigger locks on your door, buy guns, close yourself off. The eyes of love instead see all of us as one. Here's what we can do to change the world right now to a better ride. Take all that money we spend on weapons and defense each year and instead spend it feeding, clothing, and educating the poor of the world, which it would many times over, not one human being excluded, and we can explore space together, both inner and outer, forever in peace. Thank you very much. You've been great. I hope you enjoyed